Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatsApp, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very welcome. Well, it's Monday, we're right back to the top of the workshop looking at the top performing map of the moment, and it's this one, a creator we've done 4 times in the past and they're very accomplished. And this is 100% vanilla. Or is it really? We'll soon find out during the review. Second half of the show is a map that I started recording a little while ago before I had some breaking news, so it's kind of split a little bit. I'm not quite sure how the review's going to go, but we're going to do it anyway, okay? Now, a few of you are probably already aware, I've announced in a few places, over the weekend I lost my mother. I'm a bit of a mess, but the routine of making WhatsApp is part of my coping mechanism of dealing with life. It's just like routine is good, yeah? So I'm going to carry on regardless. However, if there are any shows missing this week, just please bear with me. I've replaced the logo for now. I've not forgotten about the Ukrainians, but this is more important to me personally at this time. What's also important to me is your support of the show. You know what to do, don't you? That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and helps me grow a little bit more every single day. Thank you for your support. Today's first map is It Really Vanilla by Snoozby. Well, I guess it's one word. Is it really vanilla? Is it? Yes, it is. Okay. Anybody can discuss this here as deep as you like, but yes, start square, exceptional. No problems with that at all. Second square will be the one to the left, I feel. There's no real option for a second square, though. There's your terrain. It's completely flat, apart from the hilly bits, as with all maps. Strong resources, not incredibly wild, but strong. I have no problems with those at all either. And then if you've got Sunset Harbour and want to do some fishing, your fishing map will look like that, which is a little bit of the everything, including a little dots of tuna, if you want a bit of tuna. Okay, off to the workshop. Well, what do we need? Well, I did say it was 100% vanilla, not even any DLC required. We'll be using the Lush Coast theme and the CMF LUT, which is what the Coastal Mountains Farmland, I think it was. Both, of course, made by Snoozby. Very nice. Apparently they've fixed some detailing errors as well. There aren't many problems with this first map. They're a very accomplished creator, and lots of good things. We've got road and rail running along this spot. We're going to head along the road and the rail together as we get to the start square. But this is a very nice sweeping, swooshing interchange there. Again, all the sort of standards I'd expect from Snoozby. Now, Snoozby isn't like the most, I don't know, mind-blowing. I think, oh, we've got a tiny little bit of edge of road terrain glitching there. It's not a problem because it doesn't affect the actual highway itself. But if I don't point it out, somebody else will. And there will also be in a couple of places where the roads are a little bit close together. I mean, they're sort of trying to glitch a little bit between the highways, but not. And I think we can deal with that. But there are a few places where you can see, just get that little bit of jigger-jagger, which is acceptable. It is noticeable, but acceptable. But yes, Snoozby, like I say, they're not one of those set the world alight creators. We don't need, if every creator is a set the world alight creator, the world just burns. Sometimes what you want is a nice, safe, calm, quality, smooth builder. And I think Snoozby could change their name to Smoothsby because they are very smooth. With their skills, the qualities are very nice. They've got a really strong grasp on what makes a good looking map. And this is a good looking map. Here's a start square intersection coming up now, including a start square junction for the rail. Again, that's very smoothly done as well. We've got no catenary chaos. All of the usual things that I normally get very excited about and go, oh, catenary chaos and oh, jinky jankies. Yeah, none of those today, sadly. Sadly. When I say sadly, it's good, really. That's what we were hoping for, surely. Start square intersection, nice little smoothly done trumpet interchange there. And this is going to take us down into said start square. Rail coming down here as well. And the backdrop, whilst not being overly dramatic, is just a little bit, it's just pleasing enough, you know. The mountains aren't ridiculous. They're not oversized. They're not blowing her away. It's all about just breaking up the shape of the map to make it a little bit more interesting in each individual location. Around about in the start square, again, very smoothly done there as well. And the tree detailing, we've left a large clearing to start building the city, which is, again, all what I like. We've got a good shape of the forests and one or two little mini mountains in there as well. Now, the start square, you'll notice we've got a little hint of water here, here, and here. So we're not even going to check the water flow today because we are very much split up with the water, and so it doesn't matter about how you pump and draw. You will be absolutely fine if that's what you want to do. You'll notice we have got shipping routes and we have got a bridge here, and the bridge is plenty high enough for vanilla shipping. I have checked. It's perfect. In fact, I guess while we're talking about shipping, now would be a particularly good time to have a little look at the shipping routes, which would be not that I haven't used that system for a while. We use this system. There we go. And the shipping routes, they've all got those super slick little shipping triangles, which just mean everything is smoothly again through the big old bridge. Everybody loves a big old bridge. And then this one heads up into a dead end. If you want to put the harbour in there, you can. Nothing to stop you. If you don't want to put the harbour there, but want to put it somewhere else, nothing to stop you doing that. We have a shipping route on the other side as well. Doesn't connect up with that one, but it connects up with the edge of the map in ways that you want it to. And then around here and all the way around the other side of the map this way. So I guess it does if you want to go the long way. Anyway, that's all very nice. All very nice indeed. There's the sky. Also very nice. Cube map. Cube map, I do use it. This is a 100% vanilla map, apart from the custom theme and LUT, but I also use a few mods here and there just to tweak things, to make it just a little bit more pleasing for YouTube eyes, you know. Anyway, this is all good. This is all good. Let's have a little jump down and have a look at some of my favourite little things, like this perfectly framed bridge. Look at how it just straddles that in a believable and nice way. Doesn't need to be high because there's no shipping route going through it. Same here. We've got this like elevated causeway, I guess, and it just snakes its way across these sandbanks, and a little bit of tree detailing here and there just to make it pop. That is very pleasing as well. And then we've got another bridge that straddles things very nicely, and just look at the balance of this. That is equidistant to that. This is a little bit wider, high enough for vanilla shipping, and again, it just frames that very neatly indeed. I really like this though. This was my high point of the entire map. The way that the normally you see like the 3-lane highway stop and then you'll get the split. It carries on just one extra segment, and I think that works really well for this 100% no mass transit lane merging kind of job. I think that's very nicely done. I like this as well. Okay, I love this sort of thing. We've got a lake. We've got a little bit of wall detailing around the end, which I really wouldn't have thought of doing myself, but I think it frames the lake beautifully, as does the forest, of course. This is all good. Lake, in some places I feel like it could be, I think it could go up maybe a metre or two in depth, maybe, but that's a minor grumble. And then we've got a dry river, which it used to obviously feed into, and I'm just loving the detail of these little islands in the river, and the way it's been done with the old flat vanilla rock plaque, you know, the plate thing that, you know what I mean. You see how it's been done. I think that's been done truly beautifully, and it really works for me. In terms of 100% pleasedness though, less so by this rock detailing at the end. You can see how those trees is where the water used to flow around it, but we've got trees completely sort of blocking where the water would pour out. But it's just a little thing. Speaking of little things, I really like this. This is actually a little part of the big map. Everything here is what you find on the map as a whole. Just this outlying island, some very nice little beaches, and again, look, they don't have to be very deep. They're not very wide, but they are very nicely done. We've got a nice buildable space on there as well, framed by the trees, and then a few of those little mountains as well. and the rocky outcrops as well. The density of trees is very nice too. Everything about this is just nicely polished, and just again, it's just nicely framed. And we've even got a few trees. Again, trees on mountains. Oh, is BonBon going to grumble about these? Well, I might have something to talk about with them in a moment. I might have. Anyway, so yeah, just it's a nicely framed map as well, isn't it? Anyway, trees on mountains. Don't mind them where I believe them, but I have had issues with other maps with trees right on the very peak of mountains where they just look a bit silly and a little bit clumped. Notice how though these don't really feel particularly silly or clumped. You could argue against them being up there, but they kind of feed up the mountain. You can always follow a path of trees up the mountain almost to the very peak. Don't quite tie up exactly, but in a believable kind of way. And here, again, we've got some trees clumped on the top of this mountain, and they kind of feed up the side of the mountain, and it's believable that maybe like seeds or whatever, and soil and roots and all those sort of things could maybe connect in together. And again with this one, so I don't mind. Normally I moan about clumps of trees on tops of mountains, but that works. Here on the other hand, this mountain doesn't have any, but you can see we are quite a long way down the mountain to where the trees stop. So I'm totally believing that. Let me show you how silly it would be if we did exactly the same. Grab some trees, put them on the top of this mountain, and I'll show you how dumb this kind of feels. Just because there's a bit of green up there, you don't have to put trees up there. That, to me, unlike the others, that looks a bit dumb. So it's, if ever anybody has me mention about trees on the top of their mountains because there's green on there and you've got to fill every bit of green with a tree. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Every mountain is different, every map is different, and every little wooded area is different too. Okay, this I like, and I also have a minor grumble with as well. Edge of map, we've got another big old bridge here. I'm seeing a couple of people doing this double height pillars. Don't mind this at all. I think it's a nice aesthetic. I have a minor grumble with the pillar in the middle here. I feel that could be pulled out of the rail line. Don't really need it. Just drop it below ground level and it'll be hidden away. We also get a little bit of glitching unless you have these slightly off center. And so, yeah, that's just one of those. It's very difficult to do anything about, apart from having it slightly if you have it imperfect, then the glitching goes away. You're getting the two things trying to show through at the same time, flickering into each other. But yeah, put it slightly one little button press out of position, and the glitching stops. It's fiddly, but it's worth it. Anyway, is this map worth it? Is it worth your vote? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now or the link in the description. It'll take you to the voting page where you can vote for free. But remember to vote on the right map because we have 2 maps. But what do I think of Is It Really Vanilla by Snoozby? Well, aesthetically, it's really nice. We've got a superb theme and LUT combo, both made by Snoozby, so all credit for those. It's a great shape, a great design. The question is, am I so wowed by it? Could I be more wowed by it? And I think the answer is yes. I can't tell you exactly how, because I just feel that I could be more wowed by the map. That's not to say I don't think it's a very high 4 stars. That's what I'm going to give it. Detailing, I would also go for very high 4 stars, but I'm going to knock a little tiny weeny bit off for the little bit of glitching here and there, but there are only a couple of minor bits there. For me, it's still slightly above middle 4. And for gameplay potential, I was very tempted to go 5 stars, but I think it could be better by the choice of a second or a third second tile option, if that makes any sense whatsoever. We've only got the one option for a second tile. Other than that, absolutely beautiful, very high 4 stars. Is it really vanilla by Snoozby? Is it really worth a seal of approval? It certainly is. Anyway, I'll be back with our second review right after the intermission with a little bit of a caveat. I don't know how well this is going to go, but we're going to do our best. See you shortly. And so on with today's second map, a Japanese inspired map. I can't remember if I switched the roads over from right to left hand drive, but I probably didn't. Let's put that down to a BonBon thing. Anyway, I actually recorded this before my mother passed. I'm now narrating it afterwards, several days later. I have skimmed over it to kind of refresh myself of what it is I've seen before, but I'm going to be basically reacting to my previous footage. Hopefully this review will go really well. I've got some fond memories of it, so it could be good. Muno Amami by dcreed. This is the longest waiting request map. Has been waiting too long, and I'd say there's plenty to like about it if you're after a map of this style. There's your start square. We've got the highway just poking its nose into the bottom there. That's okay. It is a Japanese style because we're off to Japan, although not mainland Japan. There's your resources. It's strong. It's very isolated strong, so you know exactly where to go for to do your resource mining. And then if you've got Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, Japan, well known for fishing and well known for sea. We've got sea there. Okay, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, it's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one, along with a few things to subscribe to on the right hand side. We're using the Laveante 2.0 theme, the realistic 1.2 LUT. You'll need tree anarchy, and at the bottom there it says, I'd also like to thank BonBon for reminding me to keep trees off of the roads. Well, you're very, very welcome. Anyway, here's your edge of map. The traffic does flow in from that elevated highway. I was a little concerned about it, so I gave it a little test, and it worked fine. So anyway, we've got edge of map, and it's just a little bit of a bump going. But look, it's edge of map. It's deep in fog. Let that go. Also, again, we can see a little bit of the tunnel just clipping through from the underside there. But I can live with it because, again, it's deep in fog at that location. Then we'll head on. Now, it's a mass transit map. You will need mass transit for this one, and yet we have got these custom roads. We've got now. This looks like quite a steep drop off, but down that real life height. If you were driving that in real life, you wouldn't notice it. But it does, as an aesthetic thing in a Cities Skyline build, it does look like a little bit of a drop off of the cliff. It's really nowhere as bad as it looks there. We're heading alongside of the water. We'll be checking the water a little bit later on. And then, of course, we've got the custom tunnels. These are great, fully rendered tunnels. Showing you can see right the way through those. Look at them. They're really cool. Really, really cool. That one's beautiful. There is one tunnel I will get to a bit later on that just feels a little bit of a bump going into it. Again, it's very minor stuff. And if I was to really make a big issue of that, it wouldn't really be that fair. Goes from ground level up to an elevated thing to take us through the city centre. I think we might be elevated just a notch or two higher than we really need to be on this particular map. Or maybe if we go any lower, the trees underneath here will clip through. So therefore, we are at the right height. You can pick and choose. We're also going in at this height here. Perhaps we could have elevated ourselves slowly over that transition, so that we kind of gained height throughout, just little bits here and there. Just a thought, rather than going so high right from the off. Again, we've got another tiny little bit of blue mantle glitching through the underside there, but I just between the two highways where it's just pushed together a little bit. It's very hard to avoid that. Very, very hard to avoid that, but it is avoidable. So point that one out. Then we've got this nice little thing here where we've got some reclaimed land holding back, like in the rock work and the vanilla key there, just holding everything in place. And then one last little hill to nip through here before we get down to the start square area. And this, I believe, is a tunnel. I think the one on the right just has a little bit of a bump leading on up into it. Yeah, in fact, the entire tunnel is just slightly elevated up, just a fraction. You can see it's just slightly higher on the right, where it doesn't really feel that it would needed to have been. And because of that, you just get a tiny little bump. It's tiny. I mean, look. These are the only things I can think to point out. It's like with the previous map. What am I moaning about? A little bit of a slight glitching on the edge of the road? Yeah, because nothing else to moan about, you know? There are a couple of other things on this map, like the way that the highway ends right there, and then you've got forest And it's normally a bit nicer to have it end, and then you've got we've got all this cleared space over here. Oh, we've got rail as well. But yeah, I mean the rail's okay as well. Nothing to moan about with the rail. But yeah, where the start square is, you kind of want it a little bit cleared of trees so that you can get building. You know, how much you clear it of trees is down to imagination, I feel. But you know, we've got cuttings as well here. But yeah, I mean, it's how much do you free? Like Snoozby cleared a lot of the start square. Some other maps just clear a small area and say, look, there you go. That's where you were going to start building. You can do the rest. But having a highway end, dead end like that, it's I don't know. It's I know it's a personal minor gripe. Shipping routes. We've got shipping routes. It's a nice curved route over here with a connection. Where was it? Here we go. With a connection there. We could do with like a second connection here to provide that shipping triangle so you don't get sharp turning ships. But again, it's quite far out, so it's not the world's biggest shipping route issue, but it is a minor thing. Again, we've got the floating tunnel. Still haven't worked that one out, but I'm sure I will at some point. What's causing that one? It's a mod. I couldn't tell you what. And then water flow in the start square. There's not really any water flow in the start square, but we do have quite a stretch of start square. Again, split up into 2 locations. So if you want to pump and draw, you can. We do have some water flow here, but I think it's just water from edge of map replacing the evaporation in the bay there. But yeah, you're probably okay to pump and draw without killing your citizens. So let's have a look at the forest. Look at the forest. Look at the density of the forest. This is dense. There is actually quite a high number of trees. Now I feel that these forests could easily be thinned out almost by about, I don't know, 60-70%, say 60% of the density, which will free up trees for some of the areas on the map where we don't have trees. And part of the reason there aren't trees on those part of the maps is to keep the tree count down. I know we're using tree anarchy, but you don't really want it to be so crazy dense, like over here as well. Just would like that area in front of it clear, or to have a start square maybe over here where it's already clear, not in the hills so much though. But yeah, all this area around here does feel like it could have more trees in it if we freed up some trees from the density of the heavily dense forests. And they are almost too dense in places. And there are options for like filler forests that will just give you a little bit of coverage there. We do have a bit of blue mantle. When I say a bit, we have this one swathe of blue mantle. You maybe spotted that earlier as we flew over it. I didn't miss it. I was always coming back to that. So we got that. Here's that where the road drops off the cliff. It looks like it drops off a cliff for here. Honestly, if we're down at ground level, this is a fairly smooth transition. Also, if we turn around and have a look at trees on the road, you're welcome. You're very, very welcome for reminding you about trees on the road. That's more on the tunnel entrance. That's probably why you missed that. It's not so much the road as it is a tunnel entrance. Now, the water's edge here, notice how it goes over the grass and then not over the muddy areas. I suspect that this is partly down to the sea level. Like here. I mean this could be real, but the thing is, I'm looking at this and I'm not really, I'm buying this as being more glitchy than it is a take on real life. And it's a question of again, thought to show you over this side, trees. Again, I'm narrating something I recorded a few days ago, and yeah, I've forgotten about this, but yes, I just wanted to show you. Good tree painting, good tree coverage, looks amazing. Thin those out a bit, move some somewhere else like over here, and I think it would look a little bit better. Yeah, that's what I was going to say as I was recording the show, recording the flyover. Right, okay, now I was saying about the water levels. I've got a feeling that the sea level maybe could be a little higher. I mean, we've got like some little flooded area there. We've got a couple of trees in the water, but have a look. You see the river feeding up underneath there. Is this meant to be as shallow as it is? The depth drops away here as well. Yeah, I don't know. And like over here, this is clearly wetland, swampland, and it's very nicely done. It's very nicely done. You can see how we've got again the rock lining there as well, and the clusters of trees in believable spots on it. But what if we were to raise the sea level? well, if we drop the sea level, not raise, drop the sea level, right? Say somewhere around about that. Just start the simulation up so that the water, where are we? Let's bring that up a little bit. There we go. What if we drop the water level down to that point? Do these areas still work? Well, I feel that this does. Now, clearly to me, it looks like it is meant to be flooded into that area. But all I've done is just drop the sea level to see how it would look. Here, this looks like it should have more water in it. Let me push this up again. Hang on. Let me find the middle ground. How about there? So now that river should fill with water at the bottom end. So something like this, maybe. Now, our wetland areas, let's have a look over here. That looks like it was probably closer to how it should look. As opposed to maybe, hang on, let's try this one. Hang on, there we go. So just slight flooding in that mud. I'm just tinkering with the okay, I buy that. Let's see what else we've got. Where else are we? Have we got anywhere else that looks like this? Becomes a bit of a swampland over here, a little bit of water under these areas. I buy that. We've got a drowned tree. That's probably down to me because of messing around with it. I'm not marking the map down on that. And then if we go back to the start square, here we go. This looks more like it. Look at the trees are very much on dry land, but surrounded by swampy areas now. For me, I think this is where the water level should have been. I think that is just a little bit of minor tweak. The river here doesn't quite match up. We've got a little bit of glitching on it. So there's a little bit more work I could do if I was taking over this map and building it from this point. But yes, I feel the sea level probably just needs to be dropped a couple of notches for this to be just an extra notch higher. Anyway, what do you think of Muno, Amami by dcreed? Is this a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. I forgot to mention, the name of the map was made by a name generator, and I've used it in Google Translate, and it translates in Chewa, which is a Bantu language in Southeast Africa, which means here. Oh, that works really well. Anyway, yeah, Amami, one of those offshore islands deep south of Japan, is for me quite a nice little map. Quite a nice little map. I like the design of it. I don't think I can give 4 stars for it, but there are lots of 4-star areas. It's just not quite entirety of the map. So I'm gonna go for a highish 3 stars. Feels pretty neat. Detailing. Okay, I've got plenty of minor grumbles on detailing, and they're grumbles, that's all. Nothing groundbreaking. Let's go for 3 stars, but let's go slightly below middle 3, because there's plenty of good stuff on here as well. Gameplay potential, feels playable. It's just one of those maps that you know if you want to play it, and it's not broken, everything's good to go. I'm gonna go slightly above middle 3. Muno, Amami by dcreed. Yes, just a map that's got some little things here and there, which is alright, I feel. Alright, I can live with it. Can you live with it? I think I can live with it. Anyway, I think that's going to do for today. I'm going to go and have a little drink because it's going to be one of those weeks. Hopefully there'll be a show on Wednesday. I haven't recorded it yet, but hopefully there will be. And hopefully be one on Friday. But if there's not, just bear with me. It's just one of those weeks. We'll get them and we'll get over them eventually. It's just eventually hasn't happened for me yet. Anyway, if you're still here, you're part of the 20 Now Elite, which is a good thing. Use the word of the day in the comments to prove you're part of the 20 Now Elite, and I'll see you again, hopefully, on Wednesday. Thanks for watching.